Alpha Team? It has been a hot minute. I hope you are all doing wonderful. I know I am. Because tomorrow is the Game Awards, and Capcom has officially announced that they will, indeed, be showing more guaranteed news through all the leaks and rumors, half true, half not, for Resident Evil Requiem. Mind you, the largest in scope, apparently the longest title, the most expensive, and the most time spent making a Resident Evil title to date, rivaling Resident Evil 4 Remake and Village, two of the biggest titles they have ever made. Now, I wanted to sit here and talk a little bit about why this game means so much to me already before it has been released. Not only is the game incredible with how the physics look, if you've seen the first trailer, where seamlessly from a cutscene into gameplay, there is no graphical difference. I've watched the trailer so many times, I love to notice little things, almost like a detective, funny enough, because Grace is like a detective. I look for the little things. And if you watch the trailer back, I suggest you do, and you see just the movement of like how her coat flows, I don't know, it boggles my mind what they've done with, like I said, the movement for like hair and everything is just down to a T, almost live action. And it is incredible what they've done. But the reason this game means so much to me is because we are back to the root of survival horror. Now, what that means is two games. Specifically, I can see them coming together into one for this scope. Those two being Resident Evil 1 and 2. We'll start with 1. If you look at the brief, I guess you could call it, expanse of what they show of the asylum, the main hallway with its giant grand stairwells and main opening area, what does that remind you of? The Spencer fucking Mansion. There was a leak recently where in-game, Grace finds a lighter, and on that lighter, it is engraved 1960-something. I can't remember the exact date, but that date was when they found progenitor virus, which quite literally was the base for all main viruses that were made in the game. T-virus, G-virus, all of them, all the main ones that have made our childhood, all the nightmares that came from that were from progenitor virus. And it talks about the founders of Umbrella, Spencer, Albert, himself in the flesh. God damn, if Wesker comes back, I don't know if he will. That would be a fucking twist. And Marcus. The three big bads. Now, the reason I see such a similarity from 9 and 1 into one big package is because I don't mind what they did with 7 and 8, going into lichens and mold and all that. I loved that. That was cool. I've loved all the different creatures they've made. But it has been so long since we have had the old, slow-moving, kind of zombies. And that brings back so much nostalgia. Arguably, I should not have been playing Resident Evil when I was around 7 or 8 years old, but I've been playing since I was that young. That's 12 years of my life I have spent loving and playing these games over and over and over. But none two have ever stuck with me the most and had such an impact on me than 1 and 2. The winding, twisting corridors mixed with the fixed camera angles was the start of the Resident Evil franchise as we know it. The twisting maze of doors, not knowing what's around the next corner, hearing distant thuds and footsteps banging on doors and blood-curdling screams, that is survival fucking horror. The music, the atmosphere, the constant feeling of dread, not knowing what lurks around a corner, whether you don't know if your head's about to get chopped off by some elaborate trap or your throat's gonna get ripped out by a dog. That was the beginning of my infatuation with Resident Evil as a whole. But the reason this game has such an impact on me is because not long ago, PlayStation made a big fucking mistake. And they updated the cover art for the game to show that Leon S. fucking Kennedy is back in the game. I have seen multiple people bitching and moaning about, oh my god, the other characters exist. It has been 13 years since our boy's been in a game. Yeah, Resident Evil 4 Remake came out. I'm talking a mainline new title. That was a remake. 13 years since Leon has been in a game. A new one. And by God, I gotta say, for 51, and for how many times he's almost fucking died, he looks pretty goddamn good. I gotta give it to Capcom. What they've done. This game is in the running at the Game Awards. Before it even comes out, it could already start a blanket sweep, a reign of terror before the 2026 Game Awards even come out. It could already win an award. Most anticipated title, rivaling, going up against the heavyweight GTA 6. And you know what? I don't see a fucking competition. Never in my life, in the entire expanse of Resident Evil and all of its history and all of its glory, have I seen more hype, leaks, and videos come out before the game is even released, with hardly anything, any information to hold on to, rather than 2 or 3 trailers and the leaks that are true. The game is already blowing the fuck up. Now, the reason for this is because of a very specific formula. And I'm going to share with you right now what that is. No game has terrified me more. Have I replayed time and time and time again and never gotten bored? Have I had the fear of dread, not knowing what's going to lurk around the next corner? Have I been so gut-wrenchingly scared the entire time? More than Resident Evil 2 Remake. I remember watching the trailer back in 2018, and by God, I shit my pants. When I played that game for the first time, I was in a dark room, no lights on, in front of a TV with a group of friends. Just the gas station alone was enough to have the entire room screaming, and I already knew I loved this game entirely. Literally, 4 minutes into the game, the prologue, the first encounter. Obviously, I was shit aimed back then, didn't know was getting the controls down, and I got bit, and the whole room was screaming their heads off. And ever since that day, whenever I find myself bored and there's not a new game for me to play, specifically in the survival horror genre, I boot up Resident Evil 2. I play the bonus modes. That game, to a T, never in my life have I seen a more faithful, beautiful, and best adapted remake to any game. Ever. Ever. Now, arguably, yeah, there's a lot of other incredible games and remakes, but for me, for how much the series means to me and for how much that game means to me, bringing it all back, years after the destruction when the missile hit Raccoon City, seeing the ruins of RPD when I watched the Requiem trailer for the first time, I screamed so loud, 4 houses down my neighbors probably fucking heard. I would have been not surprised if the goddamn cops showed up because they thought I was getting killed. That's how loud I screamed. I have not felt that childlike amazement, excitement, and wonder in that goddamn long. And it's brought it back. All the memories from 2018, all the scares, all of that came rushing back because now I've seen Leon and he's guaranteed in the game. What they have encapsulated, bringing both 1 and 2, the horror elements, being lost in this maze of winding, twisting hallways and doors, and not knowing where you're going to go next, and not knowing what horrors lurk around the next corner, that is what we needed. 7 did an incredible job with scaring the shit out of me, but never have we had that original survival horror feeling. I have heard a recent rumor that It is going to be 18 hours long. I do not know if that is including the 2 DLCs, but by God, do I hope that is fucking true. This game means so much to me, and I'm sure hundreds of thousands, millions of Resident Evil fans, I hope they share the same feeling I have, the hype leading up to this game. I haven't been this scared of a stalker enemy since Tyrant. Now think back to the first time you played Resident Evil 2. The zombies, scary. Lickers, absolutely fucking horrifying. So scary that if they jump off the wall, sometimes you gotta pause the game and just stare there and be like, I'm gonna get my throat fucking sliced when I unpause this shit. Now close your eyes. 1 shotgun shell left in your fucking chamber. No pistol ammo, no grenades, no knives. Meaning no salvation if you get grabbed. Distant, thudding footsteps. You already know you're fucked. You can't kill it. You can only stun it. And so help you God, if you try to run by it in a narrow hallway, that bitch is gonna body slam you to the fucking wall. And they have fully brought that terror back tenfold with the new Stalker. But this time, what Capcom has done, if you hide in the same place too many times, that's right, lockers getting destroyed, you're getting your head bitten off, your neck lacerated, or you're getting thrown through a fucking wall entirely. It breaks the rules of Stalker enemies. It can drop through ceilings, break through doors, destroy hiding places, and come up through the goddamn floor. But not only that, it adapts to how you act. If you're aggressive and violent, it'll stealth and stalk you. It will adapt to how you are, and it will hunt you like an apex predator. And there is no saving your ass once it sees you unless you have a light source. And seeing as how half the power in the goddamn asylum's out, there is no salvation. The safe rooms don't start safe. Some safe rooms must be made safe, meaning it can come in the safe room. The safe room isn't safe. How many more times must I say it for you to grasp it? We are fucked. It can bring you down to critical health levels in a single attack. Its arm is probably 11 feet long. Its grasp doesn't seem to end. It grabs from the dark and boom! Before you know it, you're in another room. I can't grasp it. The first time I played RE2 Remake, and Tyrant came bursting through the fucking conference room wall, I screamed so loud, I'm sure the goddamn birds in the sky fell right out. The rapture happened when I screamed. It was so monumentally bone-chilling that there's no game that's done it since. And if this game is how it seems in the trailer and how I am envisioning it, this might be the best Resident Evil title to fucking date. I don't think anyone can argue with this. I don't think anyone's seen the scope of the game, the work they've put in, the years they've molded and shaped this game into what it is today. There has never been a game in the Resident Evil community that has had more hype than this. What they've encapsulated with Grace, how she literally feels what you're feeling, that adds even more horror because you're not playing Leon, you're not playing Chris, you're not punching boulders, you're not fearless. You were able to hide over the shoulder behind the hero. You knew they were going to make it out and win. Grace has about as much training as you do at home. She trips and stumbles and falls over herself, has basic weapons training, and is not equipped for what the horrors are. Leon is. But you're not going to be able to hide anymore. That screen won't do you so much as throwing a goddamn pea at a zombie's head. When they lunge at you and they bite you, there is no sweep kick. There is no combat knife. It's coming not only for Grace, it's coming right out of the screen at your neck. The horrors that will emerge from this game will go down in history, specifically in the survival horror community, whether it be Silent Hill or Dead Space. This will shake the foundation, and it will seal its name once again as the grandfather of survival horror, so help me God. This game will do numbers so catastrophic to the economy of the horror world, no other game will compare. I can guarantee you, most money gained, biggest scope, multiple awards. It will be a blanket sweep in next year's Game Awards. It will be Resident Evil Requiem again and again and again, and maybe even Game of the fucking Year itself. And I'll have this video to show you I was all right with what I'm saying and how I encapsulated what I'm trying to say. I've said that 5 fucking times so far, haven't I? There's no other word for it. The memories people will have that they'll be brought back to, sitting there as a kid in front of the TV, horrified, hands shaking, not even able to hold the goddamn controller, and before you know it, you are dead on the screen. Simple as that. And you're sitting there, pants pissed, mind broken, gut empty, and you don't know what to do other than hit retry. The addictiveness of Silent Hill, or Resident Evil. The addictiveness of Resident Evil is all back. You might be so horrified you can't fucking sleep, but you'll come back for more. And that's what I love about it. And 100% the replayability for this game will be as good as 2 Remake. I don't know if it's your favorite, but if it is, and you share the same vision as I just gave, and the memories that came flowing back, if you look into it deeper, as I have tonight, after seeing more leaks, drop a like and a follow. Because when this game drops, you bet your sweet ass I will be dropping the entire game with my raw reaction on footage for you to enjoy. Watching me scream like I did back in 2018 when I was 11 years old. I'm going to hate it, but I'm going to love it. With that being said, it is late. I have work in the morning, and I can dream about the horrors that are soon to be biting into my very flesh. When my gun clicks, and I see that shambling husk of the creatures tumbling towards me, I'll know just how screwed I am, just as I did back when I was a wee boy. But one last thing. Think about what Leon has gone through. And picture this. Your first day on the job, you don't know what to expect. But you head into the town, right? You're going to report in for duty. Not thinking much. 4 minutes later, you see a man, neck bit out, blood dripping all over the floor, and the only thing he does is point to the freezer door. You go in to see a deputy have his neck ripped out and dangle from the mouth of a walking fucking corpse that proceeds to eat 9 rounds to the head. If that wasn't enough to shake you have to run for your life and run into this city that is completely leveled. Cars everywhere, people screaming, corpses rising back from what should have killed them. And there is no escape. If that wasn't enough trauma for Leon, almost dying hundreds of times in what he had to encounter in the fucking police station, being bitten multiple times, having his fucking chest ripped up by 9-inch claws. He then had the horrors of the military training and then had to go through an entire village, practically by himself, because let's be honest, Ashley didn't really help other than, Leon, help! so we threw that bitch in a dumpster and told her to wait. All that. Him becoming a hero, knowing he's doing this for a cause, mainly because the government made him do it, so he doesn't have a choice, but he's doing it to save all the people and make sure it doesn't happen again. Just like he said in the Resident Evil 4 trailer, this time it will be different. Everything he's done in more than 30 years of his life, he now is led right back to where it all began. All that work you've done, you've come full circle, and you realize you are a grain of sand in what you thought was the larger scope of what you had done. You thought you had saved all those people, but you're now sitting here right back, dead center in the middle of the nightmare, and it's 10 times worse. Umbrella still has power. People still die, and you can't do anything about it. Think about how much emotional trauma that is going to leave on Leon. No wonder by the age of 50 is all of his hair gray. No wonder has his whole body got scars all over him. I don't know if all of the art is true, but goddamn, I can imagine Leon having all that gray hair. He's been through hell and back. He's survived things that no man should have. But still he stands, and now he has to face once again the horror that almost took his life countless times. That is the anticipation of Resident Evil. We have not seen our hero, Leon S. Kennedy, be horrified and actually scared facing a challenge since Remake, when he was just getting accustomed to his skills with a gun, taking out his first infected. And 100%, I think we're going to see him crack a little bit. I'm going to be honest. I think it's going to be too much, and that's why it is psychological horror. Not only Grace having to wrap around her mind that she has, I think, lost her mother. It looks like Alyssa dies. And that stalker is most likely her mom. Not only does now she have to kill her own mother, but Leon has to once again try to save this city. But he's not going to be able to grasp it. All that work you've done for nothing. Understanding that Umbrella, after all these years of fighting them, they've gone right back up and they've just rebuilt. That's what Requiem is. I've pre-ordered the deluxe edition. I think you should too. And without further ado, Alpha Team, I'm going to get some sleep. I'll see you around.